Welcome to the All New Marvel Roundup, the Southgate Media Group guide to the Marvel comic books of the week. As always, I am Phil&rsquo, joined by
Charlie, yes sir.
All right, Charlie, take it away. You got more books than I did this week.
Oh yeah, wow, that's a switch. But yeah. Well, but I still kept it to my 5-book rule, and I think I'm really liking this as a good way to keep your comic book buying under control. $20 a week, 5-book rule, you're gonna do okay. So first book is Hail Hydra, number 4, the last of the Hail Hydra series. Just to give you a quick recap, when Ian jumped into the infinite elevator, he fell through the universe into the Hydra realm after the incursions, for some reason, sure. So in the Hydra realm, he's fighting his doppelganger, who is Captain Hydra in this universe. They're trying to get his specialized armor that can repair his body, because that's the one thing that the Arnim Zola of this universe has never been able to do. He's got his... so the Hydra Avengers are trying to get him. They're trying to say, you can join us, you can be a pragmatist. And that cuts back to a conversation that Steve and Ian are having in the 616, where basically, Ian's basically saying, we just keep on fighting bad guys and we put them in jail and they break out and, we ought to be killing them, as is the thing. And Cat's like, well, that's not the way we do it. And he's like, well, it seems like it's an kind of an uphill battle, and at some point there's no point in the uphill battle. Ellie, who is Captain Sharon's daughter in this world. So basically, what happens is, Ian, Leopold, the Captain Hydra, is telling Ian, look, we're the same man in any universe, and I know we have this core of pragmatism. Join us, and you can be a part of this too. Ian basically lets go to fall to his death. Is saved by Ellie, who has the Venom symbiote bonded to her, and Brock was like, I thought you said she wouldn't be able to resist the Venom symbiote, and he's like, Brock says, give it time. But basically, she has, the Steve Rogers Iron Will. Then they get trapped in a mind. She gets trapped in a mind bubble as Leopold takes on the other Hydra Avengers all alone. Does a pretty good job because, of course, they are villains. They're not that good at coordinated attacks. He beats the heck out of Dr. Mind Bubble, which is, one of those things, because he's just a kind of weak little scientist, so there's not much he can really do. And then Leopold jumps into the Mind Bubble with Ellie. Basically, he's got the nice, perfect family, Steve and Sharon and Ellie and Ian. They're all in a nice little perfect house in a perfect suburb, having a barbecue. And then Leopold shoots himself, because that's the only way out of a mind bubble, is to kill yourself before it kills you. He and Ellie escape, and basically Leopold says, you know what, we can't win this fight, let's just leave. Which is, not the most heroic thing, but his basic point is, look, this is a world where Hydra won. You deserve a world where Steve Rogers defeated Hydra. And he takes her back to the infinite elevator. She gets shot in the process. And it seems like she's dying, of course. They get into the infinite elevator. He pushes floor 616, because sure. And the Hydra building blows up. Sure, why not? They don't really explain why it blows up. It's that there must have been another fuel source. I guess it's like, well, because he's moving between dimensions or something. And anyway, they're gone. They can find nothing. Nothing of Ian, nothing of Ellie, and her little Venom symbiote. So hey, guess what? If they come back in the next Marvel universe, we get one more Venom symbiote. Not a horrible book. Like all the last issues of these Secret War Science, it's kind of a downbeat book. There's only been a couple that I really felt were really good books. And Hail Hydra, it's certainly not the worst. It's no Squadron Sinister ending. And actually, it's kind of a neat thing because he doesn't save the world. He doesn't, be the hero that Captain America would be. Because Captain America would never leave. He'd keep on fighting and fighting and fighting until he is ground beneath the gears of the world. And Ian is not that. He's not that kind of hero. And so him and Ellie escaping, it gives us a nice open option. And the final word at the end of the page is futility, which, okay. I'll go along with it. I'll give it a thumbs up. It was interesting.
Okay.
Okay. Next book, Last Days of Silver Surfer, in which we get spoilers. The universe comes back. Yeah, we know the universe is already back, but we actually get a pretty interesting plotline here. So when last we left our intrepid heroes, what's her name? Dawn Greenwood and the Silver Surfer, they were in the space between nothingness with the Shaper of Worlds and Glorian and the Lowly Z, rebuilding the universe. And basically from the stuff of the Shaper, they find basically what happens is Dawn is rebuilding Earth, but she has this manufactured Norn Rad with her, and she comes to this idea, she could bring her mother back to life, but she realizes that, we're supposed to remake the universe, not the past. Which, of course, is the opposite of what Silver Surfer did, because he went and recreated all the worlds that Galactus had destroyed. Glorian makes his move because basically the Shaper says you cannot have all these duplicates running around in this universe. Where have we seen a universe with lots of duplicates running around?
No.
The universe is unstable if you have all these duplicates, basically, which I'm sure will come back later. And Glorian basically becomes the new god of this universe, and basically says, we have to choose which surfer will exist, and they sort of realize that the surfer that Dawn has is the fake surfer, but Norn says no, but he's the surfer you deserve. He's the surfer who you could be happy with, and the fake surfer basically sacrifices himself when Glorian tries to destroy everything. And they find the heart of the Never Queen, which is from an earlier book, is Eternity's essentially spouse. The Never Queen is all possibilities, whereas Eternity is all things that are. And basically, by finding her, they go back into the space between, and they see the two universes. Eternity under the rulership of Doom, and then Glorian's new Eternity, and they have to decide which universe will survive. And then essentially the Doom mask on Eternity crumbles off, and he says, "At last I am free." And it says, to see how that happened, read Secret Wars number 9. So yeah, so there we go, universe is back. And basically they say, yes, it's the universe you've known, but it's also not, that it is familiar, but it's also new, and basically reboot. Sort of a reboot. It's a reboot, but not quite. Everything that was is, but also things that weren't are. So that's where we're at with the future. And then, but Glorian says, and basically they're having this conversation: which universe will be allowed to exist? And Glorian's universe, he basically says, look, this is the universe you made. This is the universe that is perfect. This is the universe that will make you happy. And she shows, Dawn Greenwood, her whole family and her house. But her, dad in that universe says, hey, look, I'm not really your dad. I'm your perfect idea of your dad. And I love you enough to know that you deserve to be with the reality. And so basically, they choose the new universe. Florian crumbles, although I'm sure he'll be back because he is an omnipotent god being right now. So something's going to happen with that. And then they jump into the new universe. Da-da-da, fully repopulated. And we're going to have to see what happens. Number 1, Silver Surfer, pretty good. For the last days of Silver Surfer, going into the first days of the new universe. And Silver Surfer and Don Greenwood will have another book coming out. I've enjoyed the Silver Surfer. I may keep this in my poll. So yes, very good. Okay, what's your next book, Phil? Phil.
That's well, my first book is All New Wolverine #2, and since I only have 2 books this week, I got a 50-50 shot. This will be my pick of the week.
Okay. I was fully tempted to pick that book up. So.
Yeah, but it starts off with Laura X-23 going to Alchemex Genetics in New York City because
I know that place.
Yeah, because surprise, surprise, guess who created the clones of her? Alchemex Genetics.
Wow.
So So she walks in fully handcuffed because they're like, we don't want to take any chances. So they take a blood sample to make sure she isn't one of the clones, which I don't know how you tell the difference between a clone of a clone, but...
Yeah. Don't think too hard.
I guess, yeah. But, so then after they do the blood test, the chief of security says, do you want me to take those restraints off? And she goes, well, what restraints? And you hear schnick as she pops her claws and cuts the handcuffs off.
Didn't they think to use, handcuffs that were stronger than bone? Or just adamantium claws? In which case, what was the point of the handcuffs?
Yeah, I know, exactly. I think they're adamantium, yeah, because they don't look bone.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, so she talks to, the director of Alchemex Genetics, Robert Chandler, and he's telling her, of course, the clones were a attempt to create, super soldiers and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So he's saying, of course, the 4 clones escaped and they blew up a Alchemex laboratory, and so Alchemex's security force is looking for her, and she's like, I'll do it. I'll talk to them. I'll find them. They don't need to die. So she leaves Alchemex, and then she realizes some of their security forces are following her. Which she doubles back after she smells them coming. Literally, she doubles back around, takes them out. Pops the claws and tell them I don't like being followed. And yep. So and then once she sends them running, her boyfriend Angel shows up.
Yay, Angel! He's so dreamy.
But he just flies her to her apartment, and then she's like, "Well, there's some stuff I have to do alone," so she makes him leave. Because once she gets into the apartment, I guess she smelled them. The 3 remaining, at least one. There's just the one. One of the clones is there. She's like, yeah, I smell just like you. And so they're saying, she's like, you can't kill innocent people, and the clone's like, no one is innocent. And the clone's like, it's weird. She's like, I didn't think Wolverine would live in a crappy little apartment. She's like, well, my dad left it to me.
So apparently, yes, you would.
Yeah. So she's saying, me and my sisters don't want to die. Alchemex needs to pay. Yada yada. And until eventually, Laura smells smoke, and the clone says, "Well, it's because I set your bedroom on fire." And she runs in her bedroom. There's just a small fire going, which was a distraction, so the clone could get away. But she follows the clone back to her other 2
wait.
sisters. What?
Okay, so she had set the fire before, and she's only just now smelling the smoke.
I don't know what she set on fire, because it looks like it's just like something small, like on a plate on her bed.
Well, yeah, but you would think, because, I don't have Wolverine level heightened senses, and when something's burning in my oven, I know immediately. Yeah,
I don't know. Unless it...
Maybe it had a timer.
Something, yeah.
Something. Okay.
Yeah. So she follows the clone back to the other 2. They're hiding out in the sewers, of course. And she says, I just want to talk, but one of the clones shoots her, like in the chest, and she passes out. She comes to, tied up.
Although I will say this, New York must have like the cleanest sewers in the world. Because there's just so many people living down there.
Oh, yeah, the Morlocks, yeah.
Yeah, and people with heightened senses. It's like, if you've got heightened senses, sewer maybe not the place you want to be living.
I know, you think.
Yeah.
So Laura wakes up all tied up, and she's talking to the clones, and they're telling her we didn't blow up the Alchemex facility, and so of course they're being framed by Alchemex. Surprise.
But
then Laura says, I can smell gunpowder. The Alchemex forces are coming. She's like, untie me. I can help you. So they let her free. So her and the 3 clones knock out the Alchemex forces, and one of the clones is gonna like shoot their captain, and Laura's like, no. She's like, but then the clone's like, he was our jailer for years. He deserves it. And Laura's like, no, please, I can help you. She's like, no one else needs to die. And then, blam, 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 someone shoots the 3 clones. Laura screams no, and a figure steps out and says, you're right, no one else needs to die. That figure, Charlie, the end of the issue, the Taskmaster.
Bum, bum, bum. Grant Ward? What?
I was going to say, is he Grant Ward?
No, he's not Grant Ward. So, wait, now, just one other thing here.
Okay.
Do these Wolverines not have healing factors?
I don't know. Well, they get shot, like, on the last page, so, I mean, there's no telling if they're dead or not, so.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Although one gets shot in the head, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think Wolverine's been shot in the head a couple times, too.
Yeah, that's true.
So is Deadpool. I mean, it grows back,
Mm-hmm.
That's the fun of Deadpool and Wolverine and the whole gang. Okay.
But like I said, thumbs up. Like I said, of my 2, it's the pick of the week. So. Okay.
Well, there you go. No, it sounds like it sounds like it's a great book. I was debating getting it, and I was sitting there because I knew that Hail Hydra was probably going to be a bit of a letdown. Although it wasn't as much of a letdown as it could have been. But I was like, it was running late, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I said, let me just get my $5 and get out of here. So I was already buying a bunch of stuff because I got my son one of his Christmas presents there, and then I grabbed a couple of kids' comic books for the kids too. So I was like, yeah. Anyway, so moving right along. Okay, man. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna call S.H.I.E.L.D., inspired by the hit TV series, my pick of the week this week. Just a really fun, great story. It has everything that's pretty cool about Coulson and his team. While at the same time, giving such a great and epic story, and all in one book. And that's, like, I think one of the things that's like the most fascinating thing about the S.H.I.E.L.D. comic is they do tend to be one and done issues, one and done stories. It's like one mission, one adventure, in and out, and get you right where you want to be. And I really felt that this one especially, it's just such a grand story. So we open up with the Crimson Centurion, who is clearly some version of Kang, who likes to go through time causing trouble. And he basically goes and assassinates Odin, shows up at a point in time, assassinates Odin, which leads to a war between Midgard and Asgard, because everybody's being crazy now, because they can tell that it was a Midgardian who killed Odin, so sure. Yeah, why not? Anyway, basically everyone gets all murderlated by Asgard, including Thor, who is fighting for the heroes, as well as Odin's son, who is fighting for the heroes. And the last folks alive are Gemma, Fitz, May, Daisy, and Coulson. And don't do a lot of pretext on Daisy. They're very much playing this TV style, which is fine by me, which is actually one of the problems, I think, when you do incorporate a known character into one of these TV shows where you do that reveal, because now you've got all of this other backstory that is kind of pushing away on what makes that character a fun character in the TV series. Anyway, but it all works out nicely. So we get our team. Actually, I think that is Daisy. Yeah, Daisy and May. Yeah, because there's three women. So one's Daisy, one's May, one's Gemma. Okay, and so basically Coulson calls out to Heimdall because Heimdall owes him an indulgence, which was in issue 1. I don't recall exactly what happened, but I'm sure Coulson saved the day. Anyway, so Heimdall brings Coulson and his team to Asgard, and then, but also travels them through time to the point before Odin is assassinated, because now they've got to go stop the assassination. Fitz, they're trying to lay low. They're all dressed in Asgardian clothing, but of course Fitz can't help but want to look at all the interesting magical tech. Fitz gets captured, but then disappears, and Volstagg gets some webbing on his mouth, and then we realize that basically they pulled all these weapons off of the dead heroes. So May's got a repulsor gauntlet. Coulson, of course, has Cap's shield. Fitz has Ant-Man's helmet. Gemma has web shooters. I think Daisy just is Daisy and has quake powers. So, she didn't need any weapons. So they basically take out the Warriors 3. They fight their way to the throne room. They find a dragon, which Daisy tames using her quake powers. Sure, why not? We're going to go with it because it's a really amazingly drawn sequence with some fantastic visuals, and it helps the story. It really helps the story. And Coulson with the shield it's just such a great scene. As they come to and they come just as the Crimson Centurion arrives and Kitang shield off of his jaw, and web shooters and repulsor waves, and they pile on the guy. And history is changed, and all their weapons disappear because they did not have the ability to take them off of the heroes. And of course, the Crimson Centurion says, "Ha! Now you are helpless." But Fitz was inside his armor, and without the Ant-Man helmet, he returns to normal size, basically smashing out the guy's armor. And Odin says, time traveler, eh? Well, you shall travel through time forever now. And he basically turns him into an hourglass, because he's all evil like that with his Kirby crackling cosmic control rod thing. And Odin's like, I wouldn't have needed mere mortals to help us, and and then they basically talk a lot of smack to Odin, basically explaining how basically explaining what happened. They altered the timeline, and he says, have a care, I am the All Father, and Coulson says, have a care, we are S.H.I.E.L.D., and we just saved your ass. There's just a scenario where we weren't here to do that. Your worshippers then came to Earth, Earth, not Midgard, and slaughtered billions of innocents in your name. Now, who taught them to do that? Well, your son fought on the right side, our side. He didn't make it. But my team and I were still breathing, so we came here because everyone deserves to be saved. Avengers, the innocents, your slaughtered warriors, even you. Then May says, so don't sit on your impossible throne and judge us just because you can con a bunch of superstitious barbarians into thinking you're... It says, May, dial it down. Okay. So he sends them back to Earth. They're all in their shield unitards now. And they say, we're home in one piece. Everything's in one piece. We saved 10 worlds. Fitz, give me your punch card. And he says, that's for rescuing me from Hogan the Grim, and that's for blowing out the assassin's armor, and that's for wanting a monkey. But consider this card redeemed. It says, I get a helper monkey first thing tomorrow. So Fitz will be getting a helper monkey in future issues. And they all go to have a drink because they told off Odin. Oh, and they go to Kirby's bar. They told off Odin without browning their pants. Yes, and they saved the homeland, which is all of Earth. They make this point that the homeland isn't one nation; it's the entire planet Earth. That's what Shield protects. And no, it was just a really fun, riveting romp through space, time, and Asgard. And it's sort of like the last Thor book. There are other books that have that deep story. This has some good deepness to it, but it also has adventure. And comic books are about the adventure. And now, my other time travel story this week, The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, number 2, Doreen and Nancy's excellent Doom Venture. Bum, bum, bum. Mm-hmm. So basically, we open up with Tippy Toe and Doreen going to sleep, and then, kazit, they disappear from time and all of reality, as if they never existed. She basically travels back to the 60s. What? Where she's walking around with a giant tail and in her pajamas with her tail sticking out, and she sees a sign that says "Coming soon, student housing," and everyone's staring at her, and she goes, "Oh yes, because I'm wearing my pajamas." So Tippy Toe is trying to explain to Doreen about the butterfly effect, about how she really can't change things because then everything goes crazy, and she decides, but they need to get some clothes, so they go to a charity donation bin so she can get some clothes to blend in with. They make a point about Dorian, we can't go around fighting crime in the past. It's the butterfly effect. If someone's supposed to steal a butterfly in the past and we stop them, then the future can get changed in crazy ways. Because I don't think we'll be coming across many butterfly heists, Tippy. And then, of course, what do? They come across a butterfly heist. Or to be more specific, a guy is trying to rob Café Papillon, which of course is French for butterfly. See, I know stuff. She goes in there and says, "You're about to face Squirrel Girl." And they sort of look at her strangely and says, "And oh my God, none of you have seen a superhero before. You think Captain America is wartime propaganda. Nobody's even tried making a spider radioactive and letting it chomp on people to see what happens." And so basically she says, "Okay, so here's what you need to know. Some people have special gifts. You might want to hate and fear them, but they're actually your friends and neighbors, so just be cool. Cap's a real dude, only right now he's frozen in ice in the north." Yeah, right. And then Tippy Toe's telling her, "Wrap it up." Yeah, right. Got to keep it a surprise. And then she goes, "Surprise!" and smashes the guy through the window. Meanwhile, Nancy Whitehead goes to Koi Boy and Chipmunk Hug to basically say, "Hey, we need to find out what happened to Doreen, and no one seems to remember that she ever existed." And of course, they don't remember she existed or how Nancy Whitehead knows their secret identities, which raises the immediate question, how does Nancy Whitehead still know that Doreen existed? She starts going on Wikipedia to research time travel. She's trying to think how Doreen might communicate her from the past, and she realized she would leave a note in a place that would be hard to find, but would be so obvious once she started looking for it that she couldn't miss it. And then she sees a little acorn drawn on a brick. She hits it with a hammer. There's a note inside. Doreen basically saying that she's trapped in the past, and come on, so if you have time, just come back to the 60s and save me. And she makes the point that that if she doesn't get it, then we'll send another note, and in the worst case scenario, cool old me will eventually run into Nancy, and I'll tell her what happened. So then she's walking down the street and she sees someone wearing earbuds, and she goes, "Wait, you're from the future too." And this person apparently, has made a pretty good life for herself in the past, not worrying too much, has a small apartment and a boyfriend, but all is well. And then Doreen realizes a way that she can find other time travelers like herself, because she realized that someone's pulling people from the future to the past for No, for some strange reason. A little disappointed that we don't get to see a young, hip J. Jonah Jameson and Robbie Robertson when she goes to the newspaper. That would be really cool, see Robbie Robertson with the big fro and J. Jonah Jameson with the in the classic Stanley, open collared shirt with the gold chains, That would have been funny. I'm sad they didn't do that visual gag. But they do a nice visual gag where Doreen basically gets a job in a demolition company, buys an ad in the paper that says special advertising section brought to you by Doreen Green, regular human from this time period. Hashtag Doreen selfie, Wikipedia. Look at these crazy nonsense words I made up. Friend, did you enjoy these silly words that I paid good money to advertise? I invented them to pass the time. Maybe you'll remember them in the future. Hint. TLDR, if you think you know what these crazy words mean, send mail to Doreen Green, P.O. Box 442, Station C, New York, New York. Zip codes aren't really a thing yet. What's an MP3? No idea. Super fresh memes. Haha, whatever. Twerking emoji blog. I'd like to see that. I can't wait to see what happens 50 years from now, which will definitely be a complete surprise. So her and Tippy Toe are discussing this, and then we cut back to Nancy Whitehead going through the Deadpool Guide to Supervillains trading card kit, which again, dun dun dun, why does that exist? And not for nothing, Deadpool is totally breaking the fourth wall on each one of these cards. Basically he's saying one thing, because it's like Siltman, Scarecrow, Leapfrog, and it says one thing's for sure, he definitely doesn't have access to any time machines. The funny thing about the Scarecrow, it's like, dresses up like a scarecrow to commit crimes. He does not use fear gas. You're thinking of a different guy. This Scarecrow is a highly gifted contortionist who uses extreme flexibility to break into buildings. Also, okay, I'm getting word that his body emits a gas that causes people to fear him, but I promise he's not the guy I'm thinking of. Fun fact, this guy has never traveled through time and would actually have no idea where to even start on such an endeavor.
Jeez.
And for Leapfrog, it says, this dude actually works to remind other people from traveling through time. All I can say is, if you're looking for someone to take you through time, wow, looking here was a complete waste of time. Let's see here. So, list of confirmed time travelers. Deathlock, Strife, Plasma Cabre, Immortus, King the Conqueror, Dr. Doom. Does Deathlock, Strife, seriously? Are any of these time travelers not embarrassing names? List of confirmed time travelers with non-embarrassing names. Iron Man, Hulk, Mr. Fantastic. Disputed. Oh, as to whether or not Mr. Fantastic is an embarrassing name. I just realized that's what was disputed there. And then she realized that Doreen is friends with Tony on the internet and tries to speak with Tony. But of course, Tony doesn't remember her either. Dang. Meanwhile, back in the 60s, Doreen sees that there's another ad underneath hers, and it says, coming next year, the individual portable song device, iPod. Play your records on the go. What a trip. Even plays the coming laser records. They realize that someone else is bringing people from the future to the past and maybe stealing their ideas to make inventions. And then, apparently, somehow, Nancy runs into Dr. Doom. And we don't know exactly how this happened, but here he is. It says, fool, it says, oh crap. Fools, the mightiest heroes of any era cannot help but fall before Dr. Doom. Oh, and it looks like he's coming out of his time portal, so I don't know. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but it's really exciting and interesting. And next issue's cover, we see old Doreen on the cover. So does that mean that's what we're getting or not? And some great images of Doreen in various superhero situations. Marrying Spider-Man. Very cute. Okay. Excellent book, Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, as always. highly recommend it to anyone who isn't reading it. You never go wrong with Unbeatable Squirrel Girl.
Don't these people know that they have a brand new universe and don't be damaging it already with time travel like the old one?
But it wasn't intentional.
I know.
Someone else is doing it. My money's on the wizard. He might have been around in the 60s. Who knows that he's bringing people from the future to the past to help him make things. But I don't know. That's one option. But whoever it is, it's a guy who figured out time travel. Oh, actually, you know who had a time travel in the 60s? A time travel in the 60s? Nathaniel Richards.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that guy. So it's interesting when Nancy does run into Doctor Doom, it is Doctor Doom in full armor. Of course, this could also just be a rogue Doombot who often gain intelligence and think they're Doctor Doom.
Time traveling Doombot.
Oh goodness, that sounds like it needs its own series. Okay, moving right along to Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, what did you think of this book, Phil?
I liked it. I had one problem with it. It was just, I guess it's just the problem of modern comics these days is they write for the trade paperbacks. Because it just seems like you get the quick origin of Hala, then there's a quick battle, and then you get that ending.
Yeah. Well, you see, now what was interesting to me is, as I don't know when the Kree homeworld got destroyed. I don't know if this Hala is a character that has been around before or if that's new, but I needed that quick origin, So for me, I needed that background information. So that was nice for me. And then I needed, Rocket to basically say, hey, remember when we just narrowly escaped the destruction of Hala? Yeah, well, she blames us for its destruction. And isn't it cool that we actually have people who are speaking other languages without universal translators and everyone's speaking the same language? Actually, that was actually kind of awesome. And then, Kitty tries to phase through her, which of course doesn't work because freaking alien technology doesn't work like it's supposed to and get shorted out. And how awesome is Ben Grimm's "It's clobbering time"?
Oh, yeah.
She punches
spread.
Yeah, it should. And I love Kitty. I knew you were going to say that. We all did, Kitty. We all did. Which is, of course, and then, of course, they turn their back on the unconscious supervillain because, sure, we've all been superheroes for a while, but we still haven't learned, don't turn your back on the seemingly unconscious supervillain. The security detail finally shows up for King Quill, and he gives him what for, and then of course Drax picks up the battle staff of Hala, and hey, Drax, weren't you the one saying, hey, how many weapons of infinite cosmic import do you have to that have nearly destroyed you, do you have to pick up before realizing that this universe is filled with weapons of infinite cosmic import? Follow your own advice, Drax.
Irony.
Yeah, exactly. Don't pick up the glowy staffy thing. Anyway, so Drax gets knocked down. Hala gets her wand back and blows up some stuff, and then she kidnaps Peter Quill. And did she blow up Spartax already, or is she going to take him to blow up Earth first? I gotta assume that's it, because I don't think they would have blown up the entire planet of Spartax off panel. Although, again, supervillain, think this through. You have them all unconscious. If you're going to blow up a planet, maybe now would be the time. And second, maybe attacking a planet of superheroes isn't your best idea either. Yeah, well, I kind of think that Hala just did not think this whole plan through. Because, I get she's a toughie, but she also just got knocked out by the Thing. So, not that the Thing isn't a hyper strong guy, but, Earth has like 10 of those. And, so yeah, Hala's plan, it's your typical, I want revenge plan, and didn't really think it through. But all in all, a really great, really, well, I'll give it a thumbs up. Yeah, I will say it was great. I really enjoyed it. It's got quick action, good exposition for a person who doesn't really know a lot of lore. Had just enough for me. So basically, the stuff that I already knew, I was okay with, and the stuff I didn't know, I got information on.
No, I guess I enjoyed it. I guess maybe I'm just greedy and I want more.
Oh well, yeah, we all want more, But then you have the Netflix conundrum, which is that now I get to read it all, and now what I'm going to do for the rest of the year? Now that I'm done with Jessica Jones,
That's true. Yeah.
And it's like I want more now, and to that extent, I think that is the beauty of the television model, that they give it to you slowly, because if you let the kids eat all the candy on Halloween night, they're going to get sick, and more importantly, they're not going to have any candy for the rest of the year. So, okay. So there we go. That was all our books. I think this was a pretty quick roundup this week.
Yeah, not too many books, but there's a few more this week coming up. I know there's some number ones coming out.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm at five books again. Well, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get any more bye weeks. I don't know. Just looking at things, it looks like I'm gonna have that 5 to 6 books a week going forward. At least next week, anyway. Yeah.
I don't know. I think we might have 5 Wednesdays this week. So this month. So
yeah. Well, the thing. Well, yeah. The thing always is that with the comic books, they keep making more. And actually, what it is, whenever they do one of these big reboots, I do add a lot of books, because right now I've got to work on culling all the books that really aren't living up to the hype, like Ant-Man, So, Ant-Man next weekend, we'll see what we do. Right now, Guardians holding strong. It gave me a clobbering time. Give me one clobbering time a week, a month, and I think you'll keep me around. And Shield is doing great. We'll see if I stick with Silver Surfer. Although it was fun to see the end of the universe with him. So,
well, here, I'll tempt you. You know what number one's coming out next week?
Totally Awesome Hulk.
Yep.
Oh, I know. That's one of those. Do I get it or do I not get it? I really wanted to get All New Wolverine, but I wanted the passing because I had other things already on the pull list. So, and now I kind of regret it. So we'll see what happens next week or next month. Yes. Okay.
All right, is that it?
I think that's it.
All right, let's get out of here. All right, everyone. Share your thoughts with us. Is there anything we're not reading we should be? What do you think of what we are reading? You can email us, marvelroundup@gmail.com. On Facebook, we're All New Marvel Roundup. And on Twitter, we're @Marvel_Roundup. And you can talk anything Marvel or DC with me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. And on Twitter, I am @nightwingpdp. And Charlie, where can people find you?
Well, you can always write to me at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. And you can follow me on Twitter @CharlieEsser, CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality.
Charlie Esser.
Yes.
All right.
And don't forget to keep. I'm sorry. Your ideas for the Marvelverse DC podcast coming soon.
That's right. That monumental battle between Charlie and Lilith.
I promise not to ask her for a quarter. Though I don't. She would be one if I asked for a quarter.
All right. Let's get out of here. Like I said, a couple of number ones coming out next week. Totally Awesome Hulk, Daredevil, All New X-Men, and some number 2s coming out next week too. So join us. We'll tell you what's good, what's not so good, and just remember, Squirrel Girl, find her anytime, anywhere. Good night.